Echoes of the swarm. A guardsman's descent into madness in the shadowed fringes of the Ultima Segmentum, where the stars burned cold and indifferent, the agri-world of Verdant roboted its dim sun like a forgotten prayer. Once a verdant paradise of endless golden fields, hydroponic domes, and vast grain silos that fed the ravenous maw of the Imperium's war machine, the planet now languished under the insidious advance of Hive Fleet Gorgon. The Tyranids had arrived not with thunderous fanfare, but as a creeping plague, spore pods raining from the void, burrowing into the soil to birth horrors that twisted the land itself. Sergeant Lukas Kane of the 47th Cadian Shock Troops, a regiment forged in the fires of their shattered homeworld, had been deployed here as part of the desperate defense. His platoon, dug into the eastern redoubts, formed a fragile bulwark against the encroaching swarm. Kane was a broad-shouldered man in his late 30s, his face a map of scars from Cadia's fall, a jagged line across his cheek from a Chaos Marine's blade burns from the planet's final cataclysm. His uniform, the purple and gold of Cadia, was faded and patched, his lasgun a reliable companion etched with litanies of devotion. "Eyes sharp, lads," he barked, his voice carrying over the trench line. The fog, thick with alien spores, reduced visibility to a claustrophobic haze. Private Harlan, a skinny underhiver with wide eyes and a perpetual twitch, clutched his lasgun like a talisman. "Sarge, the Auspex is pinging ghosts again. Swear I saw shapes in the mist." Beside him, Corporal Elias, a stoic veteran with a bionic eye, that word, softly, checked his ammo clips. "Nerves, boy. The swarm psychic shadow plays tricks." The platoon was a microcosm of the Imperium's desperate levy, 20 souls from shattered worlds, Cadians like Kane, Hive gangers from Necromunda, even a few agri-serfs pressed into service. Commissar Vale, assigned to ensure their zeal, paced the muddy walkways in his black greatcoat, his bolt pistol holstered but ever ready. "The Emperor demands vigilance," Vale intoned, his voice a whip crack. "Fail, and his judgment falls." Kane nodded, but inwardly he felt the weight. Supplies were low, gamesic rations stretched thin, Medikey kits depleted. Orbital support from the Navy's cruisers was sporadic, hampered by the Hive fleet's miasma. The whispers began, subtly, at the edge of hearing. During the quiet hours before dawn, when the wind carried the distant screech of biotitans, Kane heard murmurs in the Vox static. Not the chittering synaptic commands of the Tyranids, but something human, fragments of prayers, twisted into pleas for power. Harlan mentioned it first over a meager breakfast of nutrient slabs. "Sarge, it's like voices in my head, promising we'll win if we just listen." Kane dismissed it as fatigue. "The bugs mess with your mind. Focus on the litany." Oh, but Elias's bionic eye flickered oddly, as if scanning unseen frequencies. The first major assault shattered the uneasy calm. As the sun rose, a blood-red smear through the spore clouds, the ground trembled. Burrow mounds erupted, spewing hormagaunts in a skittering horde. Their chitinous forms, sleek and deadly, bounded over the razor wire with inhuman grace. "Contact front!" Kane roared, his lasgun barking crimson bolts that seared through exoskeletons. The platoon's heavy weapons teams opened up, autocannons chattering, heavy bolters thumping explosive rounds into the mass. Gaunts exploded in sprays of ichor, but the swarm adapted, their numbers infinite. A Genestealer hybrid, its human guys sloughing off to reveal purpled flesh and rending claws, leaped the barricade. It gutted Trooper Voss before Harlan's bayonet plunged into its throat. "Die, xenos, filth." Harlan yelled, but his victory was short. A Hormagaunts talons raked his arm, drawing blood that burned with toxin. The wave receded after an hour of brutal fighting, leaving the trenches slick with gore. 3 dead, including Voss, whose body was dragged to the pyre pit. Vale executed a trembling trooper who had frozen in fear. Cowardice is heresy. Oh. As they cleaned weapons, Kane inspected the anomaly from a scout report. A nearby Hab village, its silos warped into throbbing capillary towers. Leading a squad, Elias, Harlan, and 4 others, they advanced through the fog, lasguns at the ready. The village was a nightmare. Domes cracked open like eggs, civilians fused into fleshy walls, their faces frozen in silent screams. Rippers did this, Elias muttered, prodding a cocoon with his boot. Deeper in a crater from failed orbital strikes, they found the true horror, a makeshift altar of bones, human femurs arranged in 8-pointed stars, skulls daubed with runes that seemed to writhe, blood still fresh, pulsed with unnatural light. Chaos taint, Kane growled, his stomach turning. Vale, arriving with reinforcements, leveled his pistol. Burn it all! Flamers roared, Prometheum engulfing the sight. But as flames danced, the whispers amplified, echoing in their helmets. The ground quaked and Kane's vision swam, flashes of Cadea intact, his family alive, beckoning from a glowing portal. Illusions! He shouted, shaking free. Back in the redoubts, paranoia set in. Trooper Mara, a tough necromundan with tattoos of gang sigils, confided in Kane during watch. Some lads explored ruins before the bugs hit. Old Xenos temple, they said, gave visions, ways to fight back, evolve stronger. Kane pressed her, but she withdrew, eyes fearful. Elias overheard, his bionic eye clicking. That night, sabotage struck. A supply cache exploded, lost packs ruined. Vale interrogated, executing 2 suspects on circumstantial evidence. The enemy is among us. The second wave hit at dusk, lictors leading the charge. These stealth horrors materialized from the mist, their chameleonic skin perfect camouflage. Kane awoke to chaos, a lictor impaling Trooper Lena, its feeder tendrils burrowing into her skull. Lost fire lit the trenches, but the beast phased away. The platoon, now down to 12, fell back to secondary lines. In the command bunker, amid flickering holomaps, Vale conferred with Kane. Astropath's report fleet delays, Hive ships blot the warp. The whispers grew insistent. Evolve. Embrace change. Survive the devourer. Harlan's wound festered, not with infection, but mutation. Isolated in a quarantine dugout, he raved. The voices promised power. Sarge, we can become like them, stronger. His skin bubbled, eyes glowing azure. Kane ended him with a mercy bolt, but the act weighed heavy. Elias consoled, necessary. Heresy spreads. Under a spore-eclipsed sun, the climax unfolded. A colossal assault. Carnifexes lumbering like living siege engines. Tyranid warriors directing gaunts with synaptic pulses. Earthshakers pounded, but the horde breached. In the melee, Elias turned. The temple showed truth, he hissed, arms splitting into tentacles. Well, offers evolution against the swarm. Half the platoon mutated, bodies warping into abominations. Limbs elongating, eyes multiplying. Bolters turned on loyalists. The trench a slaughterhouse. Vale plasma blasted mutants, but a tendril crushed him. For the throne. For the throne. Kane, wounded in the leg, retreated to the bunker. Demons poured from rifts the cult ripped open. Pink horrors splitting and cackling arcane bolts. Flamers spewing warp flame. Screamers diving like predatory birds. Tyranids clashed with them, a vortex of xenos chitin and demonic ether. Bioplasma met sorcerous fire. Claws rent immaterial flesh. Kane, bloodied and alone, Understood. The cult, seated in desperation during transit, unearthed Tsentian relics on a prior stop. Visions lured them promises of victory over the Tyranids through change. But chaos twisted it, using the swarm's arrival to bloom. The planet was a trap Hive Fleet and Warp Storm engineered to collide, birthing hybrid nightmares. With fading strength, Kane primed Melta charges. Emperor, witness my faith. The bunker detonated in a fireball, consuming all. From orbit, the Imperial fleet observed. Ground Zero purged, the Admiral logged. But spores escaped, carrying taint to adjacent systems. Astropaths screamed of visions. Mutated swarms, demonic hives. Verdant roamed the fall. Wall was but a harbinger, yet echoes persisted. Survivor reports from evac shuttles spoke of whispers surviving the blast. In quarantined holds, Guardsman muttered of evolution. The Inquisition arrived too late, declaring exterminatus. Cyclonic torpedoes cracked the world, but the taint lingered in the void. In the 41st millennium, one Guardsman's madness mirrored the galaxies. Aliens devoured from without, heresy corrupted from within. Survival, a fleeting illusion in eternal war. The prelude to Verdant IV Doom traced back months. The 47th Cadian, remnants of a proud legion, transited through the warp after Cadia's demise. A refuel stop on the fringe world of Epsilon 9 unearthed ancient ruins, xenos structures, perhaps Eldar, corrupted by Tzentchi's touch. Elias and a clique explored illicitly, drawn by astropathic echoes. Artifacts whispered, adapt or perish. They smuggled relics aboard, visions spreading like virus. On Verdant, pre-invasion, the cult germinated. Desperate agri-serfs, facing tithe shortfalls, joined first. Guardsmen, haunted by losses, followed. Sabotage weakened defenses, inviting the swarm. And the Tyranids, sensing psychic disturbance, accelerated their assault. Post-fall, inquisitorial probes revealed similar outbreaks sector-wide. Hive fleets, guided by chaos lures, birthing abominations. Tyranids with demonic resilience, swarms wielding warp sorcery. The Imperium's response. Purge fleets, but the cancer spread. Kane's legacy? A cautionary vox log broadcast to regiments. Beware the voices in the dark. They promise salvation, but deliver only damnation. In grim darkness, faith was the only shield, and it often shattered.